time. It's time. It's time. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy. Yeah. 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 It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy. Yeah! That was pretty impressive, Nick. Hey, you're getting there, bro. Good job.
I'm trying.
All right, we got to step up. I know. I was paused. I knew Nick was going to do it. I was just surprised at the veracity of the yeah tonight. That means he's raring to go. I am as well. We got a busy week to get prepared for, so let's get it started. Mike, let's start with our introductions. Mike the Straw Hernandez, welcome to the studio.
What's going on, fellas? How we doing tonight? What's going on, Doc? Good, Nick. Good to see you.
Good seeing you, sir.
Nick, you got flandered macaronis. Welcome to the studio.
Yeah, sure the hell did last night. Yeah. So anyway, not that way. Fantasy-wise, I got flandered. Anyway, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at YouGotFlandered. And again, don't be a Grinch. Go and get your TSS Fantasy Football Podcast t-shirt. Where? On Bonfire. Just go to bonfire.com. In the search bar, type in TSS Fantasy, and you will see the Christmas present of all Christmas present for you and yours. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays.
Great sell job indeed. You're a mean one if you do not purchase from TSS Fantasy merchandise. All right. Also, let's welcome to the studio Dr. Miller. Welcome into the studio, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good to be here tonight on the house call. We're going to be talking about the second biggest story coming out of Jacksonville. And also, Nick, your 11-year-old is in the next room listening to you talk about getting flandered last night. Wow.
Well, yeah, but he knows not to use the words that he hears on TV. Hey, he watches The Office, so I mean, there is no recovery from that.
Indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we are the Fantasy Show of the People. Visit TSSFantasy.com. All of our latest news and notes and shows and rankings. Our rankings are out today. So if you're ready to start looking and getting prepared for the week, we just released our rankings, so you can find them at TSSFantasy.com. Get yourself ready for this week. Also, visit Belly Up Sports Podcast Networks. We are proud members of that sports network. A lot of great shows from NASCAR to wrestling to baseball, everything. They got you covered. Basketball as well. Basketball is getting started, and as well as baseball, hockey, everything. It's starting to get going. Also, find us on Unhinged Radio. It's 24/7. Just sat here and talked about all the sports starting up. Why not throw on Unhinged Radio? Listen to all the podcasts. You can find us 8 to 9 a.m. every morning on Unhinged Radio. Make us part of your morning commute. We are the Fantasy Show of the People. And to start things off for our prep, let's start with Dr. Miller's house call.
The doctor is in now.
Where's my Dr. Feelgood?
I know, I hit it. I don't know what happened. Hold on, here it goes.
Now we can start the house call.
My bad on the delayed Motley Crew. My bad. All right, my brother. Welcome in the studio, Dr. Miller. Take it away, sir.
So the second biggest story out of Jacksonville, and I'm sure if you're a Jags fan, you wish this was the top story. Let's talk about DJ Chark. So one of Trevor Lawrence's top targets early in the season. He's in a contract year. And if you were watching the game this weekend after seeing him carted off the field, there was little doubt his season was in jeopardy. And it was confirmed a left ankle fracture, which is really unfortunate. Surgical repair is likely going to end his season, but I think a lot of this is going to be overshadowed by news about Urban Meyer coming out of there over the next couple of days.
You
Segue.
Urban Meyer.
Oh boy, let's talk about putting your finger right in the middle of something there. All right, let's go.
Nasty. That's nasty.
All right, we'll get on to that in a minute. All right, who
New
else?
definition to the word pudding pop. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Oh, we got one-liners for days tonight. All right, Dr. Mill, who else you got?
So over the summer, we started a percent to the bench, and it was based upon Joe Mixon. Do you remember this?
I do. I certainly do.
Over reliable.
So somebody called him reliable and the safe pick in an early preseason draft.
Wonder who that was.
After that segment, we discussed how he was an 83% to the bench player this season because of his history of ankle sprains. And here we are. He's going to be missing at least this 1 week with, wait for it, an ankle injury. So should miss a week, likely more. I do want to see whether he practices later this week. So I'm not certain of this. Let's wait for Wednesday's report, or I guess by the time you're listening to this, let's wait for later today's report. But I don't expect to see Joe Mixon play this weekend.
Yeah, we talked about it last night on the waiver wire show. Priority-wise, where do you guys have Sanjay Perine and your priority list? Mike, 1, 2, or 3. You don't have to give me your list, but where do you have him at as a waiver wire claim?
I think that if we're talking running backs, I think that he has to be in the top 2 for your target this week if he's available. The only one I might consider that might be available would be Latavius Murray. But aside from him, I think that, Perine's going to be a solid plug-in until Mixon returns. And then who knows what kind of Mixon returns. So,
yeah, and
I like Murray better.
Just so you're aware, in our personal league, I'm ahead of you in the waiver wire and have already put in for Murray, just so you're aware. All right, Nick, what is your thoughts on Sanjay Perine? Where do you got him on your waiver claim list?
Really nowhere to be found because I don't trust that offensive line at all. So, again, when we watched the game the other day, when he actually did get his chance, he didn't do much. I think he's only now he's behind Mixon. But what's the average? Like 4 points a game? I don't really expect that to be that much more when he actually gets full-time duty behind that line. So my estimation, they're going to rely more heavily on the passing game. They're going to use P. Ryan, to be honest, to keep the defense honest, but don't look for him to be your 20 to 25 yard, 20 to 25 time carry back. I just don't see it. Especially for the short amount of time that Mixon is going to be out. Doc, how long is he going to be out for, did you say?
Mixon? Presently listed day-to-day according to the coach or week-to-week according to some more official reports.
So 3 weeks. Yeah.
All right, so thank you for having him repeat what he said earlier. All right, so Dr. Merrill, who else do you have on the house call?
He reiterated.
So Logan Thomas, I feel like should have made an appearance on last week's show. We've got a hamstring strain. No grade of severity associated with it yet. Officially listed as week to week. Expected he'll miss at least 1 week, likely more if it's a significant hamstring strain. Again, not a big shock to see a hamstring, a calf, or a groin in the first third of the season. Wait for a little bit more information from the football team on this one.
Yeah, and I don't know if that makes, that Ricky Seals-Jones, whatever that tight end, I don't know if that makes him an instant somebody to grab, but definitely somebody to watch out for because Washington does use the tight end quite frequently. Who else do you got, Doc?
David Montgomery. So this injury, I looked, I scoured, I couldn't find a good view of the actual injury itself. So I think a lot of the speculation we're hearing is based in part just on his body language. I mean, dude was writhing around on the field afterwards. And it looked really significant. So presently, the Bears don't intend to offer an update until after Wednesday's first official practice of the week. So there's a lot of speculation, but we don't have a whole lot of word out of the team itself. Early reports, though, indicate a mild, maybe moderate knee sprain. The most likely sprained ligament here is the medial collateral ligament. We've talked about it extensively on the show. Runs north-south on the inside of your knee, stabilizes it against being hit from the outside. He did walk off the field. That's encouraging. And according to both the NFL Network and ESPN, the Bears are saying, at least presently, they don't believe it was an ACL injury, which is super encouraging. So we're hoping maybe he's back week 10 after the Bears bye week.
Yeah, so Damian Williams definitely top priority this week for a lot of folks for sure. All right, who else you got, Doc?
Teddy Bridgewater. So want to offer a little bit of evidence on his injury. He's presently in the NFL's concussion protocol. We talked last week about how it's a 5-step return-to-play protocol that lasts a minimum of 5 days, each day associated with 1 step. Now, brain injury, they all respond differently. Every brain injury is going to be unique, so it's too early to speculate on whether he's going to be able to play until at least Thursday, maybe Friday, because, again, we take these day to day. I do want to offer a little bit of evidence, though. 2019 article out of the American Journal of Sports Medicine highlighted that the return-to-play average in the NFL was 19 days after a concussion. So if you're just looking at the data that's available, he's not going to be ready this weekend. Now, admittedly, if anybody's going to go pull that article, that was on running backs and wide receivers. It wasn't on the quarterback position. So I'm extrapolating a little bit. But again, 19-day average return to play. If you've got to make a decision today, he's not playing this weekend, but wait to see how he responds to the first couple of steps of the protocol.
Yeah, and Drew Lock looked like shit, quite frankly, so I'm not starting him against the Ravens this week, that's for sure. All right, who else you got?
Why do you want me to talk about a kicker, Robbie Gould? We're gonna talk about, this is the first kicker we've talked about who had a pregame groin strain. I don't know how this happened. He may end up going on the injury reserve list with a pregame groin strain, as if things couldn't get worse for the 49ers. They're now accepting applications for running backs and kickers. They had their punter kicking point afters. What is going on in San Francisco?
Indeed. It sounded like Robbie Gould had a little flandering before the pregame that day, quite possibly. All right.
Let's stay in San Francisco.
Yes.
While we're on it, let's talk about Garoppolo. So early reports are suggesting a right calf strain. But if you listen to his words, he was talking about how it was starting to lower, and he was concerned it was the Achilles. So if it's just a right calf strain, expect him to miss potentially 2 to 4 weeks. Again, these early season calves, groins, and hamstrings, even if it's just a grade 1, can hold somebody out 2 weeks, maybe even a month. He's somebody else I want to wait for more information. But just like in Chicago, we've got somebody on deck ready to play. So Trey Lance, he's probably going to take advantage of this opportunity, although they may have to redesign the offense. That's y'all's wheelhouse to talk about, though, not mine.
Yeah, we talked about how when he came in for the half he was in, I mean, he put up big fantasy points just in a half that he played. So I expect a lot from him this week. I actually have him 15 this week. You know, who knows? I might go a little higher. All right, who else you got, Doc?
Will Fuller. So didn't return after he broke his finger in the second quarter against the Colts. Things are rough in San Francisco. They're kind of rough in Miami right now as well. You're missing your quarterback, now missing one of your targets. Listed as week to week, but RotoWire, is reporting that he's been ruled out for Sunday's game against the Bucs. That was early on Tuesday that report came out. Would like to see it confirmed on Wednesday's injury report, but right now Will Fuller tentatively not going to be playing this weekend.
Yeah, I think I brought him up on when we were doing those percent to the benches in the preseason. He's almost been Mr. Glass. And last year, when he wasn't injured, he was caught for PEDs. So hello, might be telling you something. Who else you got, Doc?
Rashad Bateman finally coming back. Spent the beginning of the season on the injury reserve. Missed 3 games for an adductor and groin surgery. Here's the story with him. He runs a sub 4.40. which means this guy reserves heavily on his explosivity, his speed, his ability to be very nimble on the field. I don't think we're going to see that same explosiveness his first game back, especially after a groin surgery. So should play, but might not be as productive as you'd like if you spent a high pick on him.
Yeah, indeed. But I think a lot of people have either dropped him or had him on the IR. So now that he's back, like you said, it's that slow, steady working him back in. And that should be his Lamar's top guy once he gets back. So it could be exciting for him going forward. All right, who else do you have, Doc?
Last one of the house call. Let's talk about Gronk a little bit. So depending on the source, and I'm going to include Gronk as one source, although I don't know how reliable some of what he said is on this. 4 or 5 rib fractures. Gronk's words were he had 4 cracked and 1 broken rib. A fracture is a fracture, whether it's a small crack or it's a significant displaced break. So he's got between 4 and 5 fractures, which that's a challenge to manage medically, right? We don't generally do surgery on the rib. It's tough to stabilize. So it's going to take a little bit of time there. Also, though, he had a punctured lung, or medically what we would call a pneumothorax. Interestingly, with Gronk, the initial radiographs, as was, I think, the case with Tua, indicated no fracture. And then later on, they did an MRI, and it did show the full severity of the injury. Again, 4 or 5 fractures. Should the pneumothorax, should the punctured lung be mild, symptoms are just shortness of breath, chest pain, shoulder pain, increased heart rate, that type of thing. And they'll manage that very conservatively, just follow up on his symptoms. If it were more significant, leading to a potential collapsed lung, he may need more medical intervention. But if we haven't seen anything to this point, it's likely mild, likely going to just rest. Now, on the plus side, it gives him more time to get back in the WWE, which I know we'd both love to see, or shoot another commercial. So Gronk's going to use this time wisely, use it as some rest before the end of the season run to the playoffs. I'm not worried about him.
Yeah, I love the commercial where he's like, "Oh, you caught me. It's Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski." I'm like, who says that? That's the funniest shit ever. Anyway, all right, Doc. Well, we appreciate you. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Remember, guys, you can catch us on Wake Up with TSS Fantasy. Dr. Miller and I will go over the days. He'll go over the injuries, see who we can plug in and who you better plug out. So we appreciate you. When we go, we're going to go into a quick commercial. When we come back, we're going to bring on Mikey Bets from the Mikey Bets Show, and we're going to talk about Urban Meyer a little bit and then do Champs and Chumps. So we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Freddie the Jester from TSS Fantasy. As you know, I am a jokester. But one of the things I'm serious about is the health of my car. When my car is not working properly, I take it to the auto clinic in St. Cloud, Florida. Anytime my brakes or AC needs to be repaired or I just need general maintenance, I take it directly to the auto clinic, where they take care of all my auto needs. They are a complete auto repair shop. If you need repairs done to your vehicle, the auto clinic is the place. They can be found at 1524 13th Street, St. Cloud, Florida, 34769, and you can call them at 407-892-8104 to schedule an appointment. You can trust the folks at Auto Clinic like you can trust I'm about to have another snack break.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, let's welcome to the studio Mikey Bets from the Mikey Bets Show. Welcome, my brother.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How's everyone doing?
Great.
Thanks for
We're
having me.
doing well. Yeah, no, we appreciate you being on. If you'd like to take a few seconds here, let us know where they can find you and what your show's about.
Sure, you guys can find me at Real Mikey Bets on Twitter. You guys can find me at Real Mikey Bets on Instagram. If you guys are old school too, you guys can find me at Real Mikey Bets on Facebook. My show is basically we basically primarily do it off betting. We do betting, a lot of betting. But I like to do a lot of bullshit. I like to talk about calamari reviews, beer reviews, anything that you name it. Especially in the sports world, we like to make hard of it or make light of it. So, and if you're from Chicago, it's a little bit, better to be from Chicago and hear it. But if you're not, you can listen to it too, and you'll pick it up. It's a good show. People like it, so I guess I'm gonna keep rolling with it for a little bit.
It is a good show indeed. I checked you out a few times. I love when you did your beer reviews and stuff. That's great stuff. I mean, honestly, I'm not a big beer drinker, so it's nice to hear when somebody takes a little bit and kind of tells me what it's like before I taste it. All right. So speaking of making light of sports and stuff, I like to have you on for this one before we start our little fun game. The Urban Meyer story, we don't take too long on it, but I'm going to just show it for the listeners that you're not going to be able to see the video, but just trust me, it's interesting. Look it up, but I'm just going to play this real quick.
So this is Urban Meyer, the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and people are freaking out about this video, but wait till you see the video that you probably haven't seen. Were you wondering what he was doing with his hands, dancing with this mystery blonde woman at the bar? Wait till you see this. First, this video. That's the one you've probably seen. Have you seen this one? Look where his hands are going. Look at the Snapchat.
If you didn't catch the comment, the lady saying this is the video of Urban Meyer sticking his finger in my ass. So anyway, I just want to do it real quick. I just want to talk about it real quick. Listen, when I first heard the story, I thought it was kind of silly. We can't really, judge, these athletes a lot. They're put in precarious situations all the time. Who the hell are we to judge them? It's something like that. At first, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. But knocking it out, like you literally put the finger in the booty, bro. Finger in the booty. That's literally what happened. I mean, I don't. Your wife's at home babysitting. What's going on right now?
Bro,
all right, what are your thoughts on it, Mike?
How many times do you think that guy? How many times do you think his wife has called him? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, and what do you tell your wife? Like, where are you? Why are you not answering your phone? And then my other thing is he started that press conference with, I took the grandkids out to dinner. Bro, don't bring the grandkids in when we're talking about you and your little romantic endures and your scandals, bro. Don't do that, please. Nasty. Listen, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to see this guy downfall, but it's kind of fun. So thank God I'm not from Jacksonville.
Yeah, I can appreciate a man that tries to get straight to the point, but bro, damn. Nick, I know you like to talk about the coaches a lot. Any thoughts on that? I think we lost Mike. He was laughing too hard.
Oh, did he check out? No, the thing is with Urban, and this is just repetitive. I mean, there was this big song and dance. I'm a big Gator fan, so there was this big song and dances to why he left Florida the first time. He was having anxiety attacks in the middle of the night. He wanted to spend more time with his family. Well, it came out a couple weeks later. He was screwing around with a co-ed. So, right. I mean, this is nothing new for him. And I don't like him anymore because he used to gush about Tim Tebow and this and that. And then he said the same thing a few years later about Terrell Pryor. But anyway, this is just Urban Meyer, and this I heard it on another show, and this is an exit strategy to get to USC. I wouldn't doubt it if he's in USC by December 1. I wouldn't doubt it.
What if he hired that girl? What if he hired her? Ooh, you never know.
Where?
Hey, that's a good theory. You never know.
Well,
Mike,
back. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, bro. Keep going.
No, you're good, bro.
Keep quiet. All right,
Go ahead.
All right.
Your guess.
I mentioned Tim Tebow. You mentioned Tim Tebow, right?
Yeah.
What do you think he thought of when he sees Urban Meyer turning on Twitter? What do you think this guy's going through? You know what I'm saying? He looks it up and is like, how many Hail Marys do you think that he said? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't know, but then it came out. Then there was a story. I was busy. I didn't get to read it, but all the headline was Jacksonville Jaguar rips Urban Meyer and says in quotes, lost all credibility. So he's going to have a hard time getting that locker room back because, all these coaches, they preach responsibility and they preach conduct and character and da-da-da-da. And there you go. So
agreed.
It is what it is.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Mike, do you have any closing thoughts before we go out and start our Champs or Chums game?
Where do you see this ending? I don't get it. He had to apologize for not apologizing enough. And then just like, I don't know, man. I don't like to see somebody fail, but this guy is just like kind of a scumbag. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think, and again, I don't ever get on athletes or coaches in any type of situations, but like you said, I mean, this is repetitive behavior at this point.
Right.
And it's just, and again, it's not a good look. And again, there's a little process, Urban. You got to kind of talk to her a little bit, before we get to that right off the jump, sticking her finger in the booty. I mean, I don't know, bro. All right, so we're going to move on to our Champs or Chumps game. And basically what we're going to do here is I'm going to bring up the top 10 fantasy performers in each position. I'm going to give you guys a player, and I'm going to tell you to give me a argument for a champ or a chump. So I'm going to give it to you. You're going to have to give it back to me in a way. Now, you may not agree with it being a chump or a champ, but I want to see your argument either way. That's the point of the game. All right, let's get on to Nick Flanders, Champs or Chumps. All right, we'll start with the QB situation. All right, we're going to go with Pat Mahomes at number 1, Kyler Murray's number 2, Jalen Hurts is at number 3, Brady at 4, Sam Darnold 5, Daniel Jones 6, Josh Allen 7, Matt Stafford 8, Russell Wilson number 9, and Lamar Jackson at number 10. All right. I'm not going to call on our guest first. Let's get him warmed up first. Mike Hernandez, give me the case for a champ on Sam Darnold.
Champ, let's see. He has about 1,100 yards already. They got the 2 rushing touchdowns last week. He's out of New York. He's showing that with the weapons that he has, with everybody at his disposal, he's able to be that quarterback that we thought. So that is my argument for Sam Darnold.
All right, good job, sir. I threw a hard one at you right off the jump. You jumped right to it. Good job. I wish I had a little electronic dinger. I'd give you a little point. Mikey Bets, give me a case for Matt Stafford as a champ.
Well, he is a champ because he finally got the hell out of Detroit, and anybody knows that Detroit cannot produce champs. Look at him and Cooper Kupp's connection. I mean, Robert Woods has been getting breakfast with him every single day since training camp, and Cooper Kupp is the one getting the touchdowns. So either way, these guys are both scoring. They're having fun out there. Yeah, I know it wasn't a good game against the Cardinals, but guess who still put up over 20 points? Matt Stafford. You're going to see over 20 points from this guy consistently, and unless he plays tough defenses like he did with the Bucs, and what did he do? He still scored. He still made some plays. He won the game, right? So I love the Rams. I think they're Super Bowl contenders, but yeah, he's a champ. There's no doubt about it. I would take him every day of the week.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that every year you seem to just doubt, but he always seems to be right there swinging. Like you said, that was in Detroit. Now he's got a good team around him, so it'd be interesting to see how far he goes. Nick Macaroni. My brother, I want a case for Jalen Hurts.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Did you say champ or chump?
A chump for Jalen Hurts.
You're giving me a chump for Jalen Hurts. There is no argument for a chump for Jalen Hurts because he's doing everything he's asked to do. He's producing 25 points a game. He's doing it with his legs, and he's doing it in the air. So
He tried to set you up.
I'm sorry,
He tried to set you
you're
up.
going to disagree with me, but I'm going to have to go champ on Jalen Hurts.
Okay, that's not the point of the game, so you don't get a point. And in fact, you know what you're about to get.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Black Stupid.
Hey, you asked me to disagree or disagree. I couldn't.
I
make
did
an
not.
argument.
I said for you to make a case for how I tell you to make the case for it. So that was the assignment, sir, which you completely failed at. All right, no big.
The number 3 quarterback argued for how he's a chump.
Right.
That's right. That's right. You got to make the case. That's the point.
Hey, this is
even if you don't like it. All right, let's go on to the running backs. All right, so number 1, Derrick Henry. Again, if you would have heard me, you would have been safe if you had number 1. That's why I said all the way. That's the guy. Number 1. Number 2, Austin Eckler. Number 3, Cordell. And crazy enough. Number 4, Najee Harris. Number 5, Aaron Jones. 6, Zeke Elliott. 7, DeAndre Swift. 8, Kareem Hunt. 9, James. And 10, Saquon Barkley. All right, let's go. Nick, we'll start with you first, sir. Let's make an argument for a champ for Najee Harris.
A champ for Najee Harris right now. I believe he's 3rd in the league in rushing. In points for running back this season. He is carrying the team on his back offensively. And 2 weeks ago, he got 19 receiving yards. What?
Who else they got?
They have nobody else. So he is the champ of Pittsburgh today. And Mikey, they do produce champs out of Detroit, except it's hockey, basketball. That's it.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. You got me there. Wait, when was the last time that happened, though?
Basketball, Pistons were 89 and Red Wings were 95.
Yeah. Well, Detroit or the Pistons were 2004, right? Yeah, 2004. That's when Pistons.
Detroit.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was still sticking with the Bad Boys team, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
Okay. Dumbass. Thank these.
All right. Speaking of, let's stay in Detroit. Mikey Bets, give me a case for a chump for Swift.
Well, his coach doesn't even like him. I mean, Jamal Williams is running down his neck. He had more rushing yards than him last game against the Bears. But granted, Jamal Williams always has a good game against the Bears. DeAndre Swift, can he focus on the on-field though? Like, that's my thing, is like there's so many off-field problems with the guy that I just don't want to touch him. I mean, look at the problems with Kareem Hunt, where you have him for a game. Now it's consistent. Now he's fine. But in the beginning of the season, you took him that 1 year. You know, you never know what you're going to get with these certain players. So I think he's a chump. And just because you gave it to me, he was a chump. If I were to say he was a champ, I would say that he's consistent. He is great in the passing game, but I wouldn't say that because I'm not arguing for him.
Good done.
Jamal runs like Dan Campbell wants his running backs to run, just nasty, and I think that's why he favors him a little more than Swift. But that's how you get hurt, and you don't have a long shelf in the NFL. So let that be known as well. Mike Hernandez, case for a champ for Saquon Barkley.
He is going to be a champ because he is a large portion of that New York Giants offense right now. Now each week progressing better and better. I made a point last night to point out that first touchdown wasn't as significant as his second touchdown. The one that he planted his leg and made his move into the end zone, that was what made me feel as though, okay, he's on the right track. So I think he can progress from this point. So that's my argument for his champ.
Yeah. All right. Well, good one there. Good job. Appreciate that. All right. We're going to move on now to receivers Here leading the way, Cooper Kupp. We were just talking about him earlier. Again, number 1, and why not? Tyreek Hill, number 2. Deebo Samuel, he's been a big surprise at number 3. DJ Moore, he's been excellent this year. And number 4. Number 5, Mike Williams had an old school Mike Williams game last week. But he comes in at 5. Terry McLaurin at number 6. Number 7, Justin Jefferson. 8, Devontae Adams. 9, Brandon Cook. Number 10, Tyler Lockett. Mike Hernandez will come right back to you. Give me a champ argument for Terry McLaurin.
Was that champ or chump?
Champ.
Champ, shoot. I mean, he is what his nickname is. I mean, he looks like a freak out there. He looks like he's better than everybody. I like the fact that I don't think that Curtis Samuel, even as dynamic as a pass catcher as he is, he's no threat to take anything away from McLaurin as far as being the main target. So now you got Thomas, now even more. He's going to be out. I don't know how long he's out for, but that's even less passes to go around. I mean, McLaurin, is going to keep on being consistent throughout the season.
Yeah, I brought him up last night when we were talking about him. I mean, he looks a man amongst boys out there. Although Curtis Samuel does come back, even though, like you said, Logan Thomas, that does take away, bring more targets to him. But Curtis Samuel might take away a little bit. But like I said, Heineke knows where to go to. He's basically his guy. Let's fling it up for Scary Terry, let him get it. And that's what he does. So I think you're right. He is definitely a champ going forward. All right. Mikey Bets, I'm going to throw a layup to you. All right, this is easy. Devontae Adams, case for a champ.
Well, I'm going to plead the fifth because I'm a Bears fan, so.
I set you up. That's why I set you up this way.
Yeah. No, you know what? His worst game was his first game, and he still put up 5 receptions for 56 yards. Every other game besides the last one was over 100 yards. He had 121 for week 2, 133, I think, for week 3. And then week 4, he still put up 64 yards. So if the guy's putting up 13 points a game, and that's one of your that's a lower end game, he's a champ. Every other game, he's putting up 20 points, 30 points a game. And look at his schedule. His schedule doesn't get any harder. It gets easier. I love him. I think he's a champ, but I hate that green and yellow.
So just so you're aware, when I do my little clip that I sent out on Twitter, that little portion right there, I love him, will be sent out. Make sure to tag you in it right there, bro.
I'm going to lose like 1,500 followers right now.
All jokes. All right. So, Nick, give me a case, because I think you could probably make one. A case for a chump for Mike Williams.
Oh, you gave me a layup. Mike Williams in the past. Oh, by the way, Mike Hernandez, you were right. McLaurin is running like a McLaren, so I will give you that one. Mike Williams.
That was clever.
Thank you. Usually in the past, he's either hit or home run. Now he's hitting home runs at every time he's basically up at bat. But I think now the squeaky wheel is going to be Keenan Allen. He's going to say, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. So I think over the course of the season, you're going to see more targets to Keenan Allen. And Jared Cook had an impressive game last night. So he might have made a case for himself last night, much to my chagrin because he screwed me. But that's why I would make my case for Mr. Williams as a chump.
Yeah, like I said, that was a Mike Williams type game. This is what he normally does. He gets you all hyped up, and then all of a sudden he doesn't show up one game, unfortunately. So I agree. But Mikey Betts knows Jared Cook's only good in the beginning of the season. I mean, he's with the Bear for a little while, and then he tapers off towards the end. That's normally Jared Cook's MO, so we have to see how that goes. All right, let's go to tight ends. Speaking of Jared Cook, all right, we'll start out, obviously, Travis Kelce, number 1. It's kind of easy money. Darren Waller, number 2. Gronk having a great year at number 3. Dalton Schultz has come out, number 4. TJ Hawkinson at 5. Dawson Knox, number 6. 7, Noah Fant. 8, Goddard. 9, Mark Andrews. And number 10, George Kittle. Mike Hernandez, case for a chump for George Kittle.
You knew that was coming.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. However, since I have him on one of my teams, we look at him in different eyes. And the fact of the matter is just that George Kittle is a different type of football player. We were talking about the kind of guys that are just football players last night. And what I'm saying by that is that George Kittle is dynamic, but he is so dynamic in the run block. He's going to be on the field all the time. He's going to be on the field, but unfortunately, now that Debo, and I don't know what happened with Ayuk, but Debo is getting all the targets. Kittle is, still running with a purpose, but unfortunately, just the target shares in his favor, and he's not getting any of the production fantasy-wise out of it. So I hope for better days, but that is what he is at this point. He's a chump.
Yeah, well, you talked about actually prior to the season him coming in being a chump, but again, it's not much of a chump when in a position that's so depleted, I guess, if you will, of any kind of talent. I mean, he's still going to be a top 10 guy, so you're going to play him every week no matter what. You're just going to be happy with what he gives you. Mikey Bets, TJ Hawkinson, chump. Let me hear.
Once again, if I were to say he was a champ, I would say that he's consistent, he's a football guy, and he produces, and he's the best person with hands on the Lions. But since I'm saying he's a chump, I don't like his hair. I don't know what else to say on why he's a chump. I mean, he was inconsistent for 2 games, but dude, the guy's schedule is easy. I think that the guy's going to be a stud the rest of the season. But no, he's a chump because I don't like his hair and Lion. So there you go. Those are my reasons.
And he's in your division. There you go. Exactly.
There you go.
Go ahead, Nick.
I know he's a guest, and we revere our guests, but shouldn't that get a dumbass call? You like his hair, and you get the face of the wrong.
I thought hey, this is our first.
Dumbass guest.
This is our first guest. When you have a guest in your house, do you call him a dumbass? So that's why I was like, let's not do it to our guests.
I didn't. You might as well call me a dumbass.
He might not come back.
All right, Nick, give me a case for champ for Dalton Schultz.
I would say at this point, he's on the right team at the right time because Dallas is on fire. I learned this week. I have learned never, ever to pick a defense that's playing against the Dallas Cowboys in 2021. And also because Michael Gallup is out, one of our esteemed co-hosts from last night said he's getting all the targets, right? So he's one of the triplets, to borrow a phrase from the 90s Cowboys. So right now he's one of the new triplets. And until Michael Gallup comes back, you play him every week because he's going to get you targets and he's going to get you red zone targets, more importantly. And he seems to get 20-yard plus receptions. So play him until the wheels fall off.
He doesn't drop the ball either. He's a stud.
No, he does not.
Yeah.
Stud.
Nick, I just want to say this. You are a fantasy football analysis person now. Your personality, Ned Flanders got it going on, right? So I just don't understand why you would ever play a defense against the freaking Cowboys. And for that, sir, you.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Play kind.
I'm sorry, but you should get a dumbass for being a Dolphins fan your whole life.
Oh,
that's true. That is very true. They're even tattooed on my back. That's how bad it is, bro. I can't escape that. I can't escape it ever.
Stamp of the Dolphins on his back. That's great.
It's all right. I got a Bulls tattoo on my back, and they haven't worn anything since 1998. So we're on the same page.
All right.
Cry me a river, Chicago Bulls. Cry me a river.
All right, let's go on to defense real quick. All right, our leading defense is the Buffalo Bills. You heard Freddie brag about them last night. The Cardinals, number 2. Broncos at number 3. Saints at number 4. Cowboys at number 5. Bears at number 6. Browns 7. Bucks 8. Colts 9. And the Patriots at 10. Mike, Chris, give me a case for champ for New England Patriots.
Bill Belichick. It's always Big Belichick. I mean, I always trust any of their defense. He's a brain when it comes to preparing. I think that'll stand the test of time. Defensively, they have the talent. You know, Tom Brady didn't have his way, even though it was wet conditions in this last game. I give the nod as far as being a champ. I wouldn't play him every week, maybe if they were based on matchups, but AFC East, so it's like easy pickings most times.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. He had an easy stab at me there. I mean, they played the Jets twice and the Dolphins, so I mean, you're gonna have some good matchups as we go along. You Dolphins one more time at least. All right, Nick Macaronis. I want a case for a champ for the Dallas Cowboys.
I hate you.
I'll tell you makes the game fun.
Yeah, I know. They spent a lot of money and a lot of wise draft picks this year on the defense. Their entire draft was defense. So, and it's really paying off. It seems like Dan Quinn is really got his head on straight ever since he left Atlanta in that epic collapse against the Patriots. And they're putting players in the right position. And not only that, they got an easy schedule. They got an easy schedule. They don't, we said it earlier in a couple of their shows, they don't play a winning team until the Chiefs come to town in, I think, November 21st, the weekend before Thanksgiving. From now on, they play the NFC East and a lot of cupcakes. So, and they're getting turnovers. They're usually the ones that are giving up all the red zone touchdowns, but they're stout right now. So if you have a chance in your league or you can get a trade, pick up Dallas. And we'll
I just love making you say these things. This is great. All right.
Of course you do.
Mikey Bets. I'm going to give you a chance to redeem yourself to your base, to your home audience. We're going to close you out tonight on our show. I want a case for a champ for the Chicago Bears defense.
Well, Chicago Bears defense, why are they champions? Well, let's talk about Khalil Mack. Have you ever heard of him? He's a really good guy, really good linebacker, defensive guy. You know? Yeah, he's all right. Seen him once in a while. Eddie Jackson, I don't know what he's doing back there, but he's trying to figure things out. He can't really he's not a ball hawk like he used to be. Our corners, I'm talking Jalen Johnson. There's nobody else we have, but he's a really good cornerback, and he can defend the ball. Our pass game has been awful, but our run defense has been, like, unstoppable. So anybody who tries to run the ball against us, it's not going to happen. If you try to throw it through the air, you might get lucky, but there's no way. They've been putting up points this year. Besides, I believe it was week 1 they laid an egg. But week 2, 3, 4, they've been consistent. Week 5's coming up. They got a decent schedule, but I'll give them champs for this one.
I would hope you would, at least for your own homies. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Mikey Bets, man, we appreciate you being on with us. It was a lot of fun. Let our listeners give yourself a shameless plug one last time. Let everybody know where they can find you and follow and subscribe and all that good stuff.
Yeah, man. First off, I just want to say thank you. It was a fun time. I appreciate you, and it was fun. And then, you guys can find me at Real Mikey Bets on Twitter, at Real Mikey Bets on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, if you're into that stuff. So, yeah, find me wherever. At Real Mikey Bets.
And if you follow us on Twitter, we're always retweeting Mikey's stuff all the time, giving us good tidbits on bets going forward. I forget what you call those little things you send out, but he sends. He'd send like Austin Eckler getting so many touches.
All the free plays, yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah. So I throw out free plays every day. So if you guys want to follow some free plays and play some bets, if betting is legal in your country or your state, do that and follow me. Maybe win some money together.
Not in my country. I don't think so. All right. Mikey Bets, we appreciate you, my brother. Once again, hopefully we'll catch you. Maybe we'll come on your show sometime. We'll have a good time hanging out with you as well. Let us know.
Figure it out.
Let us know what beer to get, and we'll be drinking right along with you, my bro.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you guys soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro. Yes, sir.
Man, Commish, must be hard trying to get us clowns to come together for the show.
Yeah, especially keeping us motivated during the Jeffter snack breaks.
It's almost like we need a counselor or someone to at least consult us because we don't know what we're doing.
Luckily for us, we signed the best coach in the business, Vision Coach and Consulting.
They have led the way for business professionals for over 20 years.
Yeah, you know what? They offer business coaching, life coaching, and consulting services that can put you back on track for your personal goals.
You don't say, Nick. You know what? Check them out today at coachingandleading.org or on Facebook or Twitter at their handle, Coach Lead Win.
Vision Coaching and Consulting, because every champion has a coach.
I hope you enjoyed what we did with your segment there. I appreciate you bringing that up and want to give you full cred for that because I really enjoyed that. And I think going forward, that'll be fun for our listeners as well. So that was a good time. And hopefully we'll have different guests each week. Next week, by the way, it'll be from High and Low, both the guys from High and Low Sports. So check that out next week. All right. Last night we had a little bit of action. I don't know if anyone could stay up late enough. I know you guys are getting old. But a pretty decent fantasy game indeed with the Chargers and the Raiders. It was interesting to see how the Raiders used Josh Jacobs. Like we had talked about, the use of Peyton Barber that one game. And, John Gruden came out saying he wouldn't mind wouldn't hesitate to put Peyton Barber in a leading battle. But he was nowhere to be found last night. All Josh Jacobs last night. So that was interesting to see. They struggled early, just like it was a good game. It was a good night game. Struggled a little bit early. The Chargers got up on them early, but then the Raiders, were able to find some offense to come back with. Derek Carr ended up on the night 196 yards. So, this was Derek Carr kind of coming down to earth a little bit. 2 touchdowns and a pick. Let me see. He got 3 rushes for 6 yards, so not much on the ground either. Josh Jacobs, we talked about 13 carries, 40 yards, and he got 5 receptions for 17 yards. So a real good night for PPR as well for Josh Jacobs. Other than that, Ruggs had looks like he had 3 receptions, 60 yards, and Darren Waller 4 receptions, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Hunter Renfrow, which Nick brought up as a pickup, 6 receptions, 45 yards, and a touchdown. So good call there for you and Nick as well. Justin Herbert, 222 yards. It was a big 2 night for him. 3 touchdowns for him. So a good night. Like I said, they started out real well. They kind of sputtered in the second half. Austin Eckler, huge night, 117 yards and the touchdown. He also had 3 receptions, 28 yards and a touchdown. So a great night for Austin Eckler. For those, guys that need that Monday night miracle, they certainly got it. As far as receptions, you mentioned it earlier. Cook 6 receptions, 70 yards, so he led the way, yards and a touchdown. Keenan Allen, they were looking for him often. 7 receptions, 36 yards. He had 11 hits, and I saw one where he just looked like he just dropped it. It was just an off night for him. And Mike Williams, 1 reception, 11 yards. Oh man, oh boy. Okay, so guys, your thoughts on last night? On night's action. Anything to take out of it, anyone that you're like, wow, going forward, I would like that guy. Nick, we'll start with you.
Before I get to that, I was looking on ESPN and 2 somewhat notable things. The Patriots are trying to get back Jamie Collins, linebacker, so that might solidify their defense. And Dallas just released Jalen Smith about 2 hours ago. So ex-Pro Bowler, so that might ruffle some feathers down there in Big D. But otherwise, Derek Carr kind of came back down to earth a little bit. He was living on cloud 9. Big night for him. If I could, if I had the need, I'd stream him. And I don't know if he's available where you get him a trade, but I'm starting to believe in Austin Eckler. Usually he's hurt by now. So usually he's not a quality pickup. So if you can get him. And I'd say at this point, be patient with both Keenan Allen and the other guy, Mike Williams. He might hit a home run. He struck out last night. Be patient. If not, try to organize a trade or dump him.
Mike, what are your thoughts on last night?
Yeah, as far as Eckler, the opposite. Like, I mean, I know he had a big game, and I know we saw a lot of fantasy production, but there were times in that game, and yeah, I did stay up, and it just seemed like he kept getting just pound. Like, he got hurt, and he would be gimpy, and he'd take a hit, and he kind of just you just saw, like, I don't know. I don't trust him as far as his health at all. But I did turn as far as thinking, like, we're underrating San Diego's defense. Like, they are, for real, they have a solid, good defense, and it puts San Diego's offensive players in position to score. So as long as that's the case, and as Eckler can stay healthy, I mean, everybody on the Chargers, Williams, he'll have his games. This was just an off one. Allen's going to be productive. Cook's going to get his now. And then I think that everything looks good, but it's coming from the defense.
Yeah, no, I agreed. But the offense, Justin Herbert looks good too, man. That team in general just looks like a contender going forward. So they look pretty decent. All right, so we're not going to be on till this game is over with. So let's talk about Thursday night football. This is going to be a decent matchup, some decent points to go around when you got the Rams visiting the Seahawks. Lots of good players to go around in this matchup. And since our rankings are out, again, you can go to tssfantasy.com, check out our rankings. In this particular matchup, I have Matt Stafford at number 7. Seattle's defense has not been that great, even though they're at home. It's not the Seattle of old. I have Russell Wilson a little lower at 12, only because there's some other guys that I like their matchups a little more. The Rams defense, I know Kyler Murray's Kyler Murray, so he did decent. They're still good. And it is a divisional matchup too. So that's kind of where I'm looking at as far as the running backs the quarterbacks are concerned. To the running backs, Chris Carson in this matchup. Have him, let's see where I got him at. I got him. He's down the ways a little bit this week. He didn't really show up last week for some odd reason, so he's at 18 for me. And I have Darrell Henderson at number 10. Again, going back to those running backs and stuff. And we're coming up against it, so I'm not going to go against the whole thing. So I want to get you guys' comments real quick on that game. Just any thoughts on that, because we got a couple minutes. Quick closing thoughts. Anyone that are, let me just ask, must starts for that game. Mike.
You're starting both quarterbacks, and you're going to start Henderson. And everybody else, Metcalf, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be Metcalf. I don't know if it's going to be Lockett. And, you're not going to not start these players, even though they're playing a really strong defense. So I think you're going to start definitely Henderson. You're going to definitely start both quarterbacks.
Yeah, and the receivers too. I mean, I think you definitely go Cooper Kupp. I mean, without a doubt. In this particular matchup. And, I don't think you can go wrong with either Seattle guy. I mean, they're going to put up points. Nick, any quick closing thoughts on that?
No, I know one guy you should probably give up on maybe at this point is Robert Woods. He's just not doing anything. I don't know what his deal is, but maybe he gets on track. But again, usually on the Thursday night games, the defense always takes a stranglehold. And if I were you, I would go with the Rams defense because they give up not too many touchdowns. They got 56% in the red zone. It sounds high, but it's not as high as most of the league. So we'll close out the show with that.
Yeah, Robert Woods definitely into the woods this season for sure. All right, guys, we're going to close it out. Don't forget to visit tssfantasy.com, get all our latest rankings. Unhinged Radio, 8 to 9 a.m., fantasy show of the people. We appreciate you, and we are out.
Do do do.
Damn, Mike, I got on cue with that.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a mission, guys. We're on a mission, guys.